I have this burden. I carry it around really at all times. At all times, I have to carry this burden. No one can share it with me. It's not as if just talking to someone about it will help. Nobody can step in and say, hey, Jesse, let me lighten the load. They can't. All right, this burden is mine and mine alone. And that is the burden of being right all the time. Look, my nickname is the Oracle. Where did I get that nickname? Well, I gave it to myself. Who knows me better than me? And why do I and some other people call me the Oracle? Because I'm right all the time. That's why we call the show I'm Right. I'm right all the time. I've gotten a couple things wrong now and then, but for the most part, I call these things. And I seriously do call these things, but why? It's obviously clearly not my intellect. Right? Remember, I'm a community college dropout. Almost 3 years of credits in a community college, but didn't actually get any degrees or anything like that. So it's not my IQ, that is for sure. Why am I right? Well, I understand people. And more than anything, I understand communists and the way communists think. You see, the only thing holding back so many people on the right, especially our politicians, many of our pundits, the only thing holding them back from saying the things I'm saying or getting out in front of the things I'm getting out in front of is fear. It's really what it comes down to. I mean, let's talk about coronavirus, for instance, and I'm going to play a little rewind clip here in a second. But before I play you this clip of what I was saying back in March of 2020, that's right, 2 years ago. Before I play you this, I want you to understand something. Yes, there were, 4 or 5 of us maybe in the whole country who were talking like this. Why didn't all the others? They knew it was true. They were afraid. They were afraid of the mob, afraid of going against the tide, going against the narrative at the time. So instead, they just hopped right in the water and just let it carry them away. And the problem with that is there are real consequences to false narratives being set. When everyone was telling you to run home and hide and just shut down your business and you're not essential and little Billy doesn't have to go to school, back in March of 2020, this is what I was saying. The far-reaching consequences of what we're doing to try to stop the spread of this virus, maybe they're necessary, maybe they're not, but we are talking about massive, massive economic losses coming, and that's just the truth. I'm not downplaying the fact that the virus spreads like wildfire. I'm not downplaying the fact that the virus is dangerous to old, sick people. These things we're doing, man, they are drastic measures. I hope they work because we are going to be feeling this for not just, the coming months, for years. No, we're not going to be in lockdown for years, but the economic impact of this is going to be, it's going to be something. So, smile when you can, laugh. Oh, man, that aged like a fine wine. And here we are. Here we are with inflation, gas prices. We're not even talking about all the other impacts we talked about for COVID, the substance abuse, the mental health problems, the child's education. It's a disaster, an absolute disaster. And why did I know? Well, it doesn't take a genius. You know how a business works? You know how supply chains work? How an economy works together? The different parts of an economy, knowingly and unknowingly, they work together for the betterment of everybody. You can't just look at it and say, stop. Someone got sick, stop. Pause it. We're going to pause it, guys. Whatever it's done, we'll unpause it and it'll work. It's not how it works at all. You can't do that. It was weaponized. Coronavirus was weaponized very quickly to get Donald Trump out of office. That's it. It got here. Donald Trump let Fauci have the reins. It cost him his presidency. Let Fauci have the reins. Signed up for 15 days to slow the spread. Democrats quickly realized that was presidential suicide and they could destroy the thing that was going to get Donald Trump reelected, the economy. They pounced, and here we are. And look, remember, let's change gears here real quick. Remember Afghanistan? Do you remember what happened there? I want to make sure we're all clear on what happened in Afghanistan. How we had this weird pullout all of a sudden. Don't you remember? You woke up one day. I know I did too. You woke up one day and you just looked at your phone and said, we're pulling out of Afghanistan? Like, Right now, it's out of the blue. It came out of nowhere. And people couldn't figure out what was going on. And I came out here and what did I tell you? I said, well, it's not a mystery. We pulled out right before the anniversary of 9/11 because the Biden administration wanted something to celebrate on 9/11. That's why we made such a fateful decision and made it like that. As a result, we had to go right back in. Country collapsed. We got 13 of our warriors incinerated. We then turned around and nuked 10 people, innocent people, 7 of them children there. And right after this happened, Joe Biden, President of the United States, you have an international disaster on your hands. We better hear from the president. He stepped up to the microphone looking as weak gets.
Thank you. May God bless you all, and may God protect the troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan. We will find them and we will get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
The first person I was instructed to call on. And so we have this disaster, and then the world is watching. Remember, the world watches when our president speaks. The world watches. That's how Joe Biden looks. You remember what I said after that? Here's what I said. This whole thing is not only amateurish and embarrassing, this whole thing is amateurish and embarrassing in front of the whole world. It's one thing if you walk outside and slip on the ice and fall on your rear end and you're by yourself. It's quite another if you're at a party with 500 people watching. We just embarrassed ourselves with the entire world watching. They think we're weak. They think we're amateurish. Our allies aren't quite sure if we're going to be there for them. And how could they be sure of that? We've got our allies in Afghanistan dropping like flies. This is a disaster. America has been the global superpower for your entire lifetime. It has. We took over that role right about the end of World War I. That's when we really became top dog. And we've been top dog ever since. That's about 100 years. The world is looking right now, and they're asking, are they still top dog? I mean, this is not what the top dog does. This is what some fading power does. And now look at what the world did. As I warned, they were watching. Of course they were watching. Russia's now knee-deep in Ukraine. China's doing flybys in Taiwan. North Korea's testing ICBMs. It's really, really bad.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.